Welcome to Fathers and Daughters, a podcast where we discuss important topics and current issues from a biblical perspective that are relative to fathers and daughters.
Please subscribe and email us at fdpodcast@yahoo.com with questions or episode topic suggestions.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to episode 12 of Fathers and Daughters podcast.
'Tis the Christmas season.
Today is Sunday before Christmas.
December 22nd.
We are a little late recording this episode because
It's just life gets in the way, man.
life has been busy. And we were in Colorado last weekend.
Yeah.
And our plan was to record an episode there, but there was just too much going on.
There was no time to do anything while we were there.
But we had a good trip, right?
Super fun.
The last episode was about family gatherings. So
I feel like everybody relatively got along.
it was good.
There's for sure always a bump in the road, but
It was good to go into the family gathering after doing an episode on family gatherings.
it was.
And kind of talk about it before we went out there. I spoke with our friend David Sutherland this morning, and he said he listened to our episode on family gatherings, and he says he totally gets, the whole family drama and the family gathering stuff.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, so that was cool.
I've noticed lately that the closer we get to the holiday season, the more of the harder I find it to hang out with friends.
Why is that?
Because everybody's just so busy.
Oh, yeah.
I find myself so busy. I have 3 different friends in town from just different places, and I'm trying to be intentional about scheduling and making sure I get to see all of them. Along with all of our family stuff and New Year's and all of those things. And it's what are we doing for New Year's? Whose party are you going to? You know what I mean? So I've definitely found it really difficult this season to make sure I'm prioritizing and maybe even being a little bit more, extroverted, kind of forcing that out of me a little bit. So I have something every single night this week, which is a lot. So, but I'm really excited.
That's good.
I'm excited to see my people.
That says that you have good friends.
I hope so.
Or friends that you connect with.
Yeah, for sure. And they're just they're just good people. And I love getting to see my people.
Good. Yeah, this last week we had our work Christmas lunch, so that was fun. Did you have
I did.
work?
I had on Monday last week, I had a really big Christmas staff party, and there's a whole bunch of us, and we all went up to this little Christmas park in Lake Arrowhead, the mountains of where we live, and it was so cold. I thought my nose was gonna fall off.
Colder than Colorado?
Colder than Colorado.
Really?
I thought I was I'm prepared. This is great. Nope. It was freezing.
Probably the wind. Huh?
Yeah,
was
the
it
wind.
windy?
The wind was what got it.
Yeah, the wind makes it.
It was about
worse.
28 degrees and windy, and it was just it was miserable. But the party was so fun.
Good.
We got a whole bunch of really cool swag, so the party was fun.
Our Christmas lunch was low key because our work doesn't pay for it because we don't work for an employer.
Yeah,
we work for
the state,
and they don't do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we try to do as much as we can for our employees, and even if it's just low key, just to make them feel appreciated and just for us to get together and celebrate. Yeah.
Tell them about the alcohol exchange.
So we have a rule at work that says,
this is
policy.
The downfalls of working for
we
the
have
state
a
of
policy
California.
at work that says that no alcohol is allowed on the premises. So we can't even...
Which is a good thing, especially when you work in law enforcement.
Yeah, it's a good thing, but I think that policy was created to use when we find people abusing alcohol at work, And usually during the holidays, it's always fun to have gift exchanges that involve alcohol because a lot of people like alcohol, and it's kind of nice to go home.
It's a nice gift.
It's kind of, it's fun to go home with a bottle of something, bottle of wine or a bottle of whiskey or whatever that you got at a gift exchange. So a couple years ago, they put out the policy, and everyone was bummed out because now we cannot exchange alcohol. So what I did, and this is going to give it away because no one knows that I was the one who brought this gift. So I guess if you listen to the podcast now, you know who it was. So I brought 2 bottles of whiskey that came in a box, but I took the bottles out And I just brought the box with a printed picture of the whiskey bottle. And I wrapped it up and I put a note inside saying, the contents of this gift will be exchanged at a future date in an undisclosed location. And it was a big hit because people realized, oh, this is the way we can exchange alcohol without really having alcohol at work.
That's genius. So you guys don't reveal who gives out what at the gift exchange?
Yes, but because of what it was, I didn't want to reveal it just to make it fun. Like, oh, someone came up with a way to exchange alcohol without really having alcohol in the premises.
So you just wanted to be mischievous.
Yeah. You know me. But that was fun.
That was really fun. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm going to go see the new Star Wars tonight. And I'm very excited. And I wanted to go see it Friday, but because of what we were talking about, Christmas and people visiting, my friend Chris Merrow, he couldn't go on Friday or yesterday because they have family visiting from Alaska. So we're going tonight with Chris and Nick. And I'm very excited about that because I've gotten into Star Wars a lot since we got Disney Plus. And a lot of my friends know this, that I was never into Star Wars because I saw the original movies when I was little, but because of the language barrier, I didn't really understand the story. I got to know who the characters were and knew that in the Star Wars movie there were spaceships shooting at each other, but I didn't really understand the story in detail. And once we got Disney Plus, I decided to go back and just watch from episode 1 and really get to know the story and the characters and how everything, worked with each other and the dark side and the light side and the Force and everything. And I caught up. So now the new movie, The Rise of Skywalker, is coming out, and I'm so excited to go see that.
I'm so excited. You have people who will go see it with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing tonight after our podcast. So that's going to be really cool.
Cool. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So I want to congratulate you on your new full-time job.
Oh, thanks.
Which brings us to the topic of this podcast.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about work ethic. And I think work ethic is one of those things that is very important, but people are not born with work ethic. It has to be taught. Do you believe that?
I think people are born with drive. I think it takes a certain type of person to do things really well, and I think that comes from character.
Yeah.
But I think the practical ways of doing that are taught.
Yeah. Like you've been working a part-time job.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And a few months ago, you thought that you were going to be offered a full-time job, and you weren't expecting to not be offered a full-time job.
I was hoping to be offered a full-time job.
You were hoping.
And was offered a part-time job to the end of the year, and I was really kind of disappointed by that. It was definitely God's way of asking me to be obedient and to be patient and to be faithful, which was very difficult, and I did it kicking and screaming. It was definitely just one of those moments that I got offered the offer letter about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and my boss just pulled me into his office and handed me the paper and said, "Here's your offer letter, December 28th, you start." And I was like, what? It was super caught off guard. It was definitely God's way of putting his hand on my shoulder saying, "See, I told you I got this. You need to be faithful."
I remember during that time, Mom and I telling you, don't get discouraged. Just keep doing what you're doing. Work as hard as you can. Even if you have to work more than part-time, just get the job done, and show them that you're not indispensable, and show them that you have worth, and show them that they cannot afford not having you full-time.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy for you, and congratulations.
Thanks. I'm really excited.
That's going to be awesome. So like I said, today we're talking about work ethic. What does work ethic mean to you?
I think in every job that you do, you have a choice to do it really well or to do it subpar. There's definitely been times where I've worked a job where I'm like, this sucks. I hate being here. The last job that I was at, my bosses were not very kind at times, or not kind. They were very non-attentive. They just didn't take the time and the effort to really try and to get to know me and to make our experience enjoyable. And that made it really hard sometimes to work really hard at things. Mm-hmm. But there's a part of myself that wants to be good at everything that I do. It's been hard because I come up short of that, obviously. And like sports was a big thing. I'm not a very athletic person. I did good in some things, and there were other things that I was not good at all in. Like volleyball was a really big thing when I was in middle school and high school, and a lot of my friends played volleyball, and I suck at playing volleyball. I'm just absolutely terrible at playing it. And I remember playing with my friends, and as much as I tried and tried and tried, I just didn't do good. So sitting on the sidelines while they would play at summer camp or at the beach we were at or wherever was horrible. I just wanted to be good at whatever they were doing. And so when you talk about work ethic, I think work ethic is one of those things that can be taught and that you can learn and get good at. And I started to take the time to learn how to play volleyball and to learn how to get good at it. And I would ask friends like, hey, teach me how to do this. I need to learn how to do this. I want to be good. I want to be able to play with my friends and be a part of the group. And I was never great, but I was good enough. And it's not because I was born knowing how to play volleyball. It's because I sat and was taught how to play it. But I was born with the drive to say, no, I'm going to ask people to teach me. I'm going to learn how to play volleyball so that I can do it well. And I think that drive comes from character, and you can pull that out of anyone.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's certain personalities that are driven to perform well. I don't know. I just remember being little and always being competitive and always wanting to do good at what I was doing. Like I was always at the top of my class in school, and I remember being, a student of the week and earning medals in elementary school and things like that because I always wanted to do good at whatever I was doing.
Well, and I think part of that, and we'll totally dive into this on next week's episode when we jump into the Enneagram.
So we are finally doing the Enneagram?
At some point coming up. We might do a Christmas episode, but after that, we'll definitely jump into the Enneagram.
All right.
But I think part of what that is your 3 in you. And the Enneagram works as though each number represents a different personality trait. And everyone has a little bit of every personality. But the 3 is the one who's always driving to be successful, to succeed, to win, can tend to be very competitive. And I definitely got that from you.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the reason why I wanted to play volleyball was so bad was because I just wanted to beat everyone.
Like you like challenges.
I love the challenge. Yeah. But more than anything, like my 8 is my top on my Enneagram. And I didn't always need to win. I just always needed to be in charge. That was huge for me. I was like, I don't need, and sometimes it was like, I don't always need to play. I might just need to be the referee because that's a healthy place for me of, hey, if I play, I'm going to get way too competitive. There were definitely times where we would play games with when I was in youth group and I would get way too competitive. Someone would get hurt. It would just be bad. And so I learned that being kind of a referee or being the orchestrator of the games was a really good outlet for me to be in charge and get to be involved and do what I'm good at, but to not get too competitive.
I know I've talked a lot about my dad, and I'll keep talking about my dad because he was a big part of who I am, good or bad. And I know I've said that my dad missed out on many things, but one of the things my dad was really good at is teaching me work ethic. Because he was a very, 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 very hard worker, to a fault, to the point where he probably should have not worked so hard sometimes and spent some time with me. But I learned that through my dad, that things are not free, that you have to work for them, that people are not going to give you stuff, that you have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort, you have to learn, you have to work long hours sometimes. And show your bosses that you're a good asset. And I'm lucky to have a dad who was a hard worker while he was working because I got to see that. And now, I want to be the best worker I can be. And I hope that I have modeled this to you, that you have to work hard for your stuff and you have to do good work. And that sometimes, we might not have a day off, because things just need to get done and we'll make up for it later. I know Dad doesn't listen, but thank you, Dad. I think another way that I try to teach you work ethic is by having you work with me when we did our DJ gigs from an early age. And I've said before that I really like how we use that business or that opportunity to spend time together, and for me to teach you how to deal with clients and be professional and put the equipment together and know that we were on a timeline and that things had to get done. And at the end of the night, when the job was done, we would get paid. So we're very fortunate that we had that opportunity to have that side job where I could bring you in and include you in that. And hopefully that taught you some of that work ethic.
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the biggest things I think I walked away with from doing Mooskit with you for however many years is how to deal with clients. It really taught me some really awesome customer service skills for when I went into the customer service industry. Mm-hmm. I worked for a juice bar for 2 years, and I slowly started to grow in the company. And I left the company as a manager. And something that was really fun for me was getting to take some of the skills I learned from our DJ company and take those over to a new company. So that was really fun. That was really cool. I was having to deal with some crazy brides who have crazy requests, who go crazy and talk crazy. I'm just like, cool, I know what I'm doing. And then getting to deal with some of the brides that are just fun and kind and loving, just kind of having two totally opposite ends of the spectrum at some points, and getting to take that over to the customer service industry and getting to say, hey, I know how to deal with crazy and I know how to appreciate the kind.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was really cool.
One of the things we had to do a lot was learn how to put out fires, because every event was different and it never failed. There was always something that didn't go as planned, but we had to figure out how to make things work. That carry out to any job. And I think if you learn how to do that, if you learn how to not panic, just think about what your options are, what resources do you have to fix the situation, and just get working and fix it, you're going to be a great leader. Mm-hmm. And you're going to stand out from a lot of people who just panic and they're like, well, I don't know what to do, So
that was something I did learn from our company and didn't take with me to my new job. That was totally something I had to learn at my current job, because whenever we meet with brides, anytime they ask, do you have any advice? Like, you've been doing this for a while. And once they learn I've been doing wedding planning, they ask, like, do you have any advice for my wedding? And I always tell them the same thing. I'm like, something's going to go wrong. Mm-hmm. You can plan. Something will go wrong. And there's no planning for it. Mm-hmm. You have to be okay to be agile and to roll with it, and just have people in place who you trust to deal with your problem. Something will go wrong. Your tables will be out of order. Something will be delivered late. Someone's going to show up late. Someone's going to forget something. You're going to forget something.
Yeah.
Some family member's going to say something stupid. It's going to happen. You just have to put people in place and trust other people to know that they're going to take care of your fire. And you have to equip those people with water to put out your fire. And that was something I definitely didn't take with me. And I had to learn at my new job when, we were planning summer camp last year, and there were just fires at every single turn. And I remember my boss pulled me aside, and we were back in our cabin for the night. And she pulled me aside and she said, things will go wrong. You cannot control everything.
Yeah.
I know you want to, but you have to just accept the fact that you can't. You have to be faithful, and you have to say, okay, God, it's cool. You've got this. I'm just here for the ride. What fires can I start putting out next? And she told me, she was like, that's how you be a leader, is teaching your people to say, hey, I trust you to do this. Mm-hmm. And so this year, my boss's boss told us that we have to start building teams. We have to start building teams of people, because we are literally creating a department. As someone who started that, like, you start to oversee that department, and to have to start doing the things to develop people and to trust people with things. I'm now being asked to hand off large chunks of my job to someone who has never done it before. Yeah. And say, here, do it better than I would. And that takes a really, really hard hit on my pride, and saying, you have to let that go, because they might do it better than you will. And that's what success is developing people who are going to do it better than you would.
Yeah. And I think it takes time to learn the industry, because we became really good at weddings. But for you, when you left to go work where you work now, it was a totally different industry.
Oh, I had to learn how to lead people.
Yeah.
I had to deal with all different kinds of people types. And there are just some people out there that just don't care. And it's hard to make people care about something that they don't want to care about.
Which is lack of work ethic.
Yeah.
Right? Who are some people in your life who taught you work ethic?
Becky Balboa. Becky is a longtime friend who does wedding planning. We've talked about them, I think, on the last podcast. She's awesome. She has the best customer service of anyone I've ever met in my life. If someone told me you have to put a team together to run a restaurant and you have to pick a dream team, I would hire her to be my manager and just deal with customers all day.
Okay.
Because she can talk down the craziest person in the world to be reasonable.
Yeah, you're right.
And I mean, there have been brides who we've handled with her, and I just walked over and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I remember Becky pulled them aside, talked to them for 5 minutes, and the bride came out and went, thank you so much for what you're doing. I was like, how did you do that?
Teach me
how to do that. And it was just the words that she said, the way she said things, the smile she always had on her face. That she was the person who taught me about customer service the most.
Yeah.
So she's for sure at the top of the list. Amanda Ovalle is my current boss. She's my dotted line. So I report to her and my boss's boss, I guess.
Sure.
So it's a whole thing. I remember getting on staff and doing my first year of summer camp. And I remember just the days and times where she would just work. And what she did, I don't even know how to explain it. There were just times that she said, it just needs to get done. And we're going to figure it out. And I just remember going up to her sometimes and being like, I don't know. Like, I remember just handing things to her and going, I can't believe you're entrusting me with this. This is insane. Why would you give this to me? And she goes, I trust you. You have to figure it out for yourself. And there were times she would literally just tell me, be like, you need to figure this one out on your own. That meant the world.
That's good.
I never felt like she held my hand. She always said, she didn't hold my hand. She had her hands on my shoulders and just said, I'm here for the ride. You need to learn how to figure this out yourself. Mm-hmm. And that was a game changer. And she works harder than most people I know. She just gets it done. Mm-hmm. And there's never been a time where I went, wow, she fell short. There's never been a moment like that. So yeah, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of more people who have taught me really good work ethic. You for sure, obviously. I mean, just starting a company and saying, this is just a way we make extra money. And
we had to, because we were only operating on one income. Mm-hmm. You know, we decided that it would be best for her to stay home to raise you and your brother, you know, while you guys were little. And that took a lot of sacrifice. We had to make our money stretch. We had to make a lot of sacrifices. And that pushed me to figure out other ways to make income so we could take care of what we needed.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, you just got to do it. You got to figure out and do it.
I always tell my friends, and my friends joke about it, and it's really nice. But one of the things I was known for saying during camp season was, we'll figure it out. Because that's just the truth. That is just how it goes. And they mock me and think it's weird. And they would just say things to me like Belle would say, figure it out. Because it's the truth. Because you just sometimes have to just figure it out. There's not always an exit. There's not always a clear path out. You just figure it out as you go. There's always going to be a fire somewhere. There's always going to be something missing. Someone says something stupid. Something's always going to happen at every single job you're at. Every single time. You just have to figure it out.
Yeah. And of course, you know, there's everything we can do to get things done. But a big part, especially for us, is trusting in God, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like God has been a big part of our lives, helping us make ends meet, you know, bringing opportunities that we saw and we pursued, like figuring out how can we make money out of playing music and making people dance. You know, nowadays we still do that, and I work and teach at the academy. At the same time, I'm doing my full-time job. So, you know, we find ways to create income and take care of what we need and what we'd like to do.
And I think like anyone who's getting ready to start a new job or getting ready to do their first job, I definitely think that's something to just know, is that there will be times where you'll pull long hours. I mean, there's always 1 week of the year for me that's insane, and that's the week of camp. The week before, the week of, and the week after are just insane. I don't see anybody. I kind of abandoned my friends for that week. I was rarely home. And it's because things needed to get done. And I told everyone going into that, I said, I'm probably going to be out for the next 3 weeks because I'm working. I work 49 weeks out of the year for these 3 weeks. Because things just needed to get done. Amanda and I were a 2-person team planning a summer camp for over 1,000 people, where we were taking over 1,000 people up to a camp that we had to fully program. It was insane. And we had to transport all those people, and it was madness, but we had to do it, and it has to get done. There were times where when I was working at the juice bar, it was like, okay, like I remember telling my assistant manager one day, I said, all right, well, I need you to pick a day next week that we're going to come in and work 4 hours after close. And she looked at me like I was crazy. She's like, you're going to be here more than we have to. And I was like, and this was right when she started. And I said, every month we will do a night where we will deep clean, where we will hit every single nook and cranny of this place and just do it fully and all the way through. And she's like, we didn't do this at my last store. And I was like, I know. That's okay, but we're doing it at this store. And I hope that she's carried on that tradition after I've left, because things need to get done, because things just get dirty. There's wear and tear. There's always going to be a fire somewhere.
Yeah.
You just have to hope that you prepare yourself well enough for it, and that you equip your team well enough for it when things like that do happen.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that people think about when they think about millennials is the lack of work ethic. Based on your age, you're still considered a millennial, right? You're a millennial?
No, I hit the year mark for Gen Z.
Really? Okay. Well, so the girls that are younger than you, they're not millennials, they're Gen Z. Okay. I have seen some of this with millennials. You know, people say that, you know, millennials were giving everything. Millennials didn't have to work for everything they had. Millennials got everything right away because of technology and all of this, you know, and that didn't teach them to wait. That didn't teach them to work hard for what they wanted and so on.
Sure.
But I wonder how it's going to be with the Gen Z crowd. What would you tell those girls that are younger than you, that are just now starting to learn about working and are going to get ready to go into the workforce in a couple of years?
I would tell them that a job is never just a job. Every job is a different opportunity. I never went into a job saying, oh, this is just a way that my paycheck comes in. I always said, this is an opportunity. I was in one of my first jobs was a job where it was just a dead end. There was no way to grow. There was no opportunity to move up. And I had been there for about a year and a half, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere here. There's no way for me to go up. And so I went to my next job. And that next job I had taken, and I moved all the way up to as far as I could go and said, I can't go up anywhere here. And I can do more. And that's when I took my current job right now. This job has created so many more opportunities. But I'm so grateful for the experiences I had at my old jobs, because they taught me how to grow. They taught me how to succeed. They taught me how to fail. And I'm grateful for those opportunities.
Yeah.
And so I would tell these young girls, because I've worked with them. Side story, I had a girl who was working at the juice bar I was working at, and she had been there, and I had transitioned into the manager role after about a year of working there. And this girl had been working there for probably 4 months, maybe not even that long. And she was super flaky, didn't have very good customer service skills, was not a very good employee at all. She was late constantly. And I was really trying to motivate her and was really trying to get her to do well and to want to try. And one day I just got a text message from her, after she was 25 minutes late to her shift saying, I quit, I'm not coming in today. And I remember it was a Saturday afternoon. I had just gotten off work. Like, she was the next person who was supposed to come in. And I remember having to stay at work and pull another 5-hour shift on top of my 7-hour shift. And I was just so dead and so mad. And I was just really bummed. I think, and more than anything, I was just I wasn't upset that I had to be there longer. I was just upset that I couldn't motivate her to want to be there. And when you don't do well at a job, or you don't care enough at a job, somebody has to come in and fill your gaps.
Yeah.
Someone has to come in for your shift. Someone has to clean the thing that you decided to not clean that day. Someone has to fix the thing that you broke that day and didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Someone has to cover the 15 minutes you were late to your shift. Someone has to stay over because you decided you wanted to be late. And I don't think enough people know that. They're like, oh, well, I don't know how it gets fixed, but it'll happen.
It's not my problem.
It's not my problem. No, that's not the case, because that doesn't happen in life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I would tell young girls, is that a job's not a job. A job's an opportunity.
Yeah.
To really prove something to yourself. And when you come short, someone always has to come further.
Yeah, someone's got to do the job. Someone's got to step in and do what you failed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been working since I was 16. What's that? 28 years?
You're 44, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 28 years.
No, I'm 47.
Are you really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're so old.
I know. I'm 47. Was that? So I've been
31 years.
Okay, so I've been working for 31 years.
Wow.
So here's a couple things. Regardless of where you're at, even if you don't like where you're working, do your best.
Yep.
And then get out and find something that you like. But now, where you're at now, do your best. Because you never want to burn your bridges.
Yeah.
Okay, and what that means is that you never want to leave a bad name for yourself wherever you left, because you never know when you're going to need that person or that job or that reference. And the phrase is not what you know, is who you know. It's very true.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because all my employments, or, all the ways I have gotten into a job have been because of someone that I knew, not because of my education or my experience.
Which do help.
It's like, sure, those help, and a lot of works have requirements, but the connection that got me to the point was not what I knew, it was who I knew.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of young kids don't realize that.
And I get it. It's hard, it's difficult, especially when the people you're working for can be difficult. I've definitely been there. I totally get it. Some of the last people that I've worked for in the past have been difficult sometimes. And I'm sure there's times I've been difficult. And each time I've left a job, I've left it on a really good note. And I'm really excited for the next few years of working, because I have people who will vouch for me. I mean, when I left my last job, I told my boss in person, and I asked him for a letter of recommendation, and he said, whatever you write, I will sign.
Yeah, even though you didn't like that job, right? You just wanted to get out.
Yeah.
But
because I couldn't move up.
Right, but you did the best you could at the time. So, here are some verses, some Bible verses that talk about work ethic, that talk about working hard and what work does. The first one is Proverbs 16:3. It says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. So, like we were saying earlier, we can work as hard as we can, but we need to trust in God. Proverbs 10:4 says, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. There's a saying out there that says, the early bird gets the worm. What that's pretty much saying is, like, you got to get out there early and start early. You got to do your job. You got to be responsible. You got to
be the hardest worker and get the biggest profit.
Yeah. And this verse really says that if you work hard, there's going to be rewards. Mm-hmm. Proverbs 12:11, those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies have no sense. And that pretty much goes with the previous verse that I read. Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And I think that's something that we don't think about too much. That, yes, we have bosses, but we're really working for the Lord. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to model what being a good Christian is by the way we work and our work product. And it's very easy to get tangled in life and just work for the paycheck, or work for the praise, or work for, for the next promotion. And we forget that we have to model what we believe in how we work.
Which means that when people say things to you, like especially in the customer service industry, people are going to be rude. There are just rude people out there who will say mean things, who will get angry. I've had customers try and get physical, like just be nasty. But it's how we respond to those people that really give us ways to exemplify who Christ is.
Mm-hmm.
And there have definitely been times where I'm like, dang, I'm going to throw my hair back, take my earrings off, and like, let's go,
Mm-hmm.
Let's meet me in the parking lot. And it's hard to turn down that sometimes and say, nope, you got to put your smile on. You have a job to do. And they might be rude to every single person today. Every single other person might respond like that to them.
Mm-hmm.
Be the person who doesn't.
Yeah. And this last verse, I think, is very important. And it helps teach us that although it is great to be good workers and work hard, money is not everything. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people get lost in the idea of, well, I got to work hard because I need to make money. I need to make the next dollar, and I got to work and work and work, and we forget what's important. And I think there were times when that's where my dad was, and I just wanted him to be home and spend time with me sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's 1 Timothy 6:10. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." And I'm not saying my dad was a lover of money. I think he was just working hard because he wanted to provide. Mm. And he didn't make a lot of money, so the more he worked, the more he would be able to provide. But I don't think he knew what the right balance was. So, with that said,
I think that has a lot to do. Sorry, I'm going to comment on that one more time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that has a lot to say about this coming generation too. And I've definitely caught myself in this at times where the second you start making money, you start going, whoa, I can buy things now. And because there's all these new cool hip things like AirPods and Nintendo Switch and things like that people want because they're new and trendy, it makes it easy to want to just get the job done and do the subpar thing so that you can just get the money and go spend it on whatever you want to.
Yeah.
When in reality, sometimes the harder you work and the more you save, the bigger the payoff, because you're going to get the bigger things in the long run because you stayed and you worked hard and you did the extra 3 hours that day, or you went in an extra, hour early to just work, or, you stayed late that day to have a meeting with someone, you do what you have to do to make sure you get things done. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not about the quick buck. It's about staying and being dedicated and doing the good work so that the payoff can be big in the end.
Yeah, you're right. Having said that, I have a game for you.
I have a game.
No, I have a game.
I have a game.
What's your game?
I'm going to ask you some standard interview questions.
Okay.
Is that not your game?
No, that's not my game.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to go first.
Okay. Can we do 1 and 1? You ask a question and I ask a question.
Okay, what's your game?
Okay. So my game is, since I love music so much, I'm just going to ask you some trivia questions about some songs that talk about work.
Oh, that's random, but okay, I'm about it.
Okay. So you go.
Okay. Tell me about yourself.
That is it's
really hard.
That is a very hard question because
I've sat down at an interview sometimes and someone just looks at me in the eyes and goes, "Tell me about yourself." And you're like, "What do I say?"
Yeah, what do you want me to say? Because I am a very complex and weird person.
Which most people are.
That I feel that if I told someone a lot about myself, they would not want to hire me because they would say, this guy's a freak.
And you want to say certain things to hint at whatever the job is so that they're going to think you're a good fit there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That is not a very good
it's really
interview
hard
question. I think that question...
But it's how most of them start.
I think a good answer for that would be to maybe introduce a little bit of your personality and how your personality would be beneficial and helpful with whatever job you're trying to apply for.
Agreed. So what would your response be?
It depends what job I'm trying to apply for.
Okay, that's fair.
So what job am I applying for?
You're applying for
To be a dolphin trainer?
No.
Oh.
You're applying to be a host at a restaurant.
Okay.
Because I'm sure that's what a lot of young kids might be going into. Some sort of customer service job.
Okay.
Some kind of customer service job. Could be anywhere.
Okay.
Could be Chick-fil-A. You're going to go work at Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Tell me about yourself.
Okay, so throughout my life, I've worked at different restaurants that have helped me develop good customer service skills. I'm a people person. I try to be an extrovert whenever I go to events or whenever I'm meeting people, and that allows me to interact with people and get to know them well. I think in a job like this, that experience and those skills might help me be a good host to our customers. And as they come into the door, make them feel welcome and appreciated, as I show them to their table.
Love that.
You love that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you go.
All right. My question. What movie is the Happy Working song from?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Wrong.
Wait, can I try again?
Yes.
Enchanted.
Yes.
With Amy Adams and
Yes.
what's her face?
Good job.
And Patrick Dempsey. I love him. I love Patrick
He's
Dempsey.
okay.
He's gorgeous.
What's your next question?
Okay. My next question is describe yourself in one word.
Complex.
Complex. Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. These lyrics are from a song made famous by the Beatles. Can you name the song? Here are the lyrics.
Okay.
Life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend.
I have no idea.
Life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend.
I have no idea.
We can work it out.
Oh, I wouldn't have known that.
Okay. Next.
Sorry. This one's my favorite. Why should we hire you?
You should hire me because I am the best that you'll ever get. It depends. What job am I applying for now?
I told you you're applying to work at Chick-fil-A.
A host at Chick-fil-A. Okay.
Okay, I'll give you a new one.
No, at
I'm gonna give you a new
I
one.
like that. No, let me answer.
Oh, fine, go ahead.
Let me answer.
Okay,
At
fine.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Ask me the question again.
Why should we hire you?
I really like your company because you have Christian values. Throughout my life, I have practiced living my Christian values. And I believe that working for Chick-fil-A will allow me to continue doing that. And I think that includes caring for people, providing good customer service, having good work ethic. I think if you give me an opportunity, I will be able to show you that and demonstrate that and really show you that I am a good candidate for this job.
Yes, drop that Jesus grenade. I love it. Okay, you go.
Okay.
2 more.
Work from Home is a famous hit by what group?
Fifth Harmony. You ain't gotta go to work.
Work.
I love that. Okay. This one's actually my favorite question. It says, what can you do for us that other candidates can't?
Okay. Well,
Essentially, like, what makes you special?
Sure. Well, I can't really answer for other candidates, but I can tell you why you would benefit from hiring me. And hopefully by me telling you that, you would see how I may be a better fit than other candidates. Like I said before, I really care for people, and I have learned to give good customer service. I think because of the type of company you are, that is something that is very important and something that really sets your company aside from just any other food business. I believe that if you hire me, I will help you carry on your mission by taking care of customers, modeling what a good Christian company is like, and I don't know, maybe bringing people closer to Christ just by being kind and being helpful and saying, my pleasure.
You get so into character. I was like, I feel like I'm talking to a different person.
Would you hire me if you were a Chick-fil-A
Of course
manager?
I would.
Yes.
You got so deep into character right then. That was kind of scary.
Okay, and last question.
Okay.
Finish this verse in Missy Elliott's song, Work It. Is it worth it? Let me work it.
Put your thing down, flip it and reverse it.
It's your primitive one, yeah. It's your primitive one, yeah. If you got a big...
Okay, that was so inappropriate. Kids, please don't go listen to that song. Dads, please keep your daughters from listening to that song. It's a bad song. We do not condone that here. But speaking of inappropriate songs, you want a hot body? You want a Maserati?
Work.
You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis?
You better work.
Look hot in a bikini?
All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for you today.
That's the conclusion of episode 12.
Episode 12. We are thinking about recording a Christmas episode on Christmas Eve, just to talk about what Christmas is for us and maybe talking about our most memorable Christmas gifts that we've ever received.
So tune in next week.
You guys have a great Christmas. And remember that Jesus is the reason for this season.
You won the Jesus grenades today.
Peace. Thank you for listening to the Fathers and Daughters podcast, a Musket Entertainment production. For questions, comments, or topic ideas, email fdpodcast@yahoo.com. Please subscribe and tune in every week for new episodes.